Good evening. How you doing? How we doing? Who is it? Colin, shut up. Shut up. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. How have you been? Tell me all the things. How is life? How is life? Type away. Talk to me here. Talk to me. We're going to get started in just a bit here. I wanted to chat about a few things. So, I did a stream a few nights ago. It was a good stream with people. Life is kicking your ass at the moment. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. You can do it though. I have faith in you. So a few nights ago when I was streaming, I was talking about a lot of absurd bills that New York State Democrats were trying to pass in 2019 before COVID. Very weird, strange bills. Some of them. Uh, they they um, they had 5 bills that they introduced in January, February, and March of 2019. One of them ended up getting passed. It was the religious exemption for vaccines bill. So they stopped letting parents use religious exemption as an excuse for not getting their kids vaccinated. It was a whole thing. A lot of handicapped kids got kicked out of school. There was a big legal battle. I think a lot of those handicapped kids got to go back to school, but the medical exemption apparently is harder to get than the religious exemption, or it was at the time. A whole mess, whole big mess. Thousands of kids getting kicked out of school all at once. It was a nightmare, and it was kind of quiet. The news didn't pick that up. They pick up the anti-vaxxer stuff, but they don't pick up the stories when like innocent kids get kicked out of school. Some of them being handicapped and actually at risk for vaccine injury because of their handicaps. They don't want to talk about that. So that was a crazy story that happened in 2019. But some of the other bills that didn't get passed are even more concerning. And this is again pre-COVID, and it really makes you wonder what Democrats were up to in 2019. One of those bills was a bill that would allow schools to vaccinate children without informing parents at all. That luckily just got caught up in committee. That's so weird. Another one was a bill that said if a teenager is 14 years or older, they can, without their parents' permission, without their parents knowing, they can go get a required vaccine or a recommended vaccine, whatever the hell that means. Very strange, weird medical bills. A lot of predatory type stuff, in my opinion. Like going after kids without informing parents, going behind parents' backs is just very weird to me. Very, very strange what Democrats were up to in 2019. So there was a story about a woman whose son came home and he had a Band-Aid on his arm because he went to the school nurse or whatever it is, and I think he had like an injury that had nothing to do with the Band-Aid on his arm, and his mother was like, "What's that on your arm?" And the son said, "Oh yeah, they gave me a vaccine." And the mother was like, "They didn't tell me they were going to give you a vaccine." So very weird. There was a whole thing where they were hiring someone just to coordinate HPV vaccines in New York schools, even though that those bills did not pass. Like the vaccinating kids without the parents' permission. There was an HPV bill, which is so weird. Like literally putting Gardasil in kids at schools. Gardasil actually is one of those vaccines that does cause a lot of injury. A lot of teenagers get injured, and even killed. There's been a few deaths from Gardasil. There have been settlements from Gardasil, and they were going to do this behind parents' backs. And they actually were doing it in the Bronx, of course. That bill didn't pass. So a lot of shady shit that you don't hear about in the news. So I was covering a lot of that. That was my last stream. If you want to go look it up, I talk for like 3 hours for no reason. I didn't think I was going to be on that long. It happens. I get in the mode. Sometimes Ricky rants. You know what I'm saying? That's why this is Ricky rants. Heyo, how we doing, IC? What's up, Ludin? You can't hear me? Oh, you had the tab muted. Oh my god. I would talk for like 3 hours and be like, "Oh, no one heard me. Okay, cool. Good night, guys." That would be me. Oh my god. Ha 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 ha. So, if you're just joining, Democrats were trying to pass a lot of weird, strange bills in 2019, early 2019, where they're trying to like vaccinate kids at schools without parents' permission, which really comes into play now if you think about it. Um, there's something really shady about New York and California Democrats, especially with their weird medical laws. In 2019, they were really pushing hard. They're trying to use outbreaks of measles in 2018 to justify doing weird, crazy shit behind the backs of parents. See, I have a problem with that. And it really makes me wonder now that we're seeing things that I'm getting deja vu. I'm getting deja vu now with the boop boop stuff. And if you go back and look at what the Democrats were doing in 2019, it kind of mirrors that. So there's something very strange going on. Something very strange. So I'm going to jump in a little bit here. So there were those 5 bills. One got passed. They took away religious exemptions for kids and kicked a lot of kids out of public school. A lot of them were actually handicapped and were at risk from vaccine injury just because they had certain health conditions. They just, and it made sense not to vaccinate those particular kids. And then some of them were actual religious exemptions, and some of them were just parents that don't like to vaccinate their kids. Whatever, there's a plethora of reasons kids were not vaccinated. A bunch of kids got kicked out of school. Not very cool. So it was a mess. They used measles as an excuse, and I've not seen any evidence that the measles cases in New York State were not vaccine strain. The thing with the measles vaccine is that it can actually give you measles if it de-attenuates. When you attenuate a virus, you kind of handicap it, so your body's like, oh, look at that, one-legged measles over there, and it builds an immune response, and it goes and gets it, and then now your body's like ready to fight a wild strain of measles. But sometimes that attenuated virus, that handicapped virus, de-attenuates, and it kind of wakes up, and it's like, hey, gotcha, and it makes kids sick, and then they can spread it. And that's not that big of a deal because those kids are vaccinated, and and oftentimes that de-attenuated strain is going to be weak anyways, and a lot of the kids that get sick when measles breaks out from de-attenuated measles vaccines are kids that are too young to get the vaccine to begin with. And so they blame like unvaccinated kids, and a lot of times it comes from the vaccinated kid, and the ones that are getting sick are the little kids that don't have the vaccine yet. So it's they call it an epidemic and an anti-vaxxer problem, and it's not, because the vast majority of kids are vaccinated. It's really not a problem. There was like over 2,000 cases of measles in the entire country. They called it an epidemic. But if you look at other things like the mumps, there was even more cases. I don't think there was 2,000. I think there was 1,000 something, maybe 2,000. But mumps, there was well over 2,000, even more than measles, and they didn't call that an epidemic. I'm assuming because it was probably all vaccinated people. So that's how that works. So a lot of narrative building when it comes to that kind of stuff. Similar to the polio vaccine, the oral polio vaccine in Africa is the source of polio in Africa. There's no wild polio anymore in Africa. It's all vaccine strain polio, the oral polio vaccine. Yep, it's clearly not as good as the stuff we have here in America, but they still give it to the Africans because they don't care. Yeah, fun stuff. The carnivorous keeps on changing it up on us. Yeah, isn't that funny? Yeah, this new variant. Very weird. There's a lot of theories about this new variant because it's very different. If you look at its genome, it doesn't look like the last variants. Usually, like each variant is like a stepping stone from the last major variant. This one is kind of out on its own limb. It doesn't look like it's related, but it doesn't look like the other variants. So there's a couple theories. One theory is that someone engineered. This is a really bizarre theory. I don't believe it, but hey, it's actually interesting to think about. Someone engineered a less virulent strain of SARS-CoV-2 to spread it to the world, so everyone could get natural immunity from a less virulent strain of SARS-CoV-2. I don't believe that, but that'd be one hell of a story. Another theory, and I like this theory actually, is that COVID was spreading way before the Wuhan outbreak. maybe much less virulent strains, maybe not nearly as transmissible. Who knows? And it had been circulating for several months before the Wuhan outbreak, which just happened to be, you know, this virulent crescendo at the time. I don't know. There's also a lot of pollution in Wuhan, and pollution and viruses don't mix well, I don't think. But if COVID had been spreading well before Wuhan, and we don't have, those variants before, Omicron could look more like those variants, possibly. I am not a microbiologist. I am not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. But this theory is interesting to me. Thanks, Bill Gates. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, man. Thanks for the oral polio vaccine. There's actually pictures of him like bloop, 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 like giving the oral polio vaccine to like little kids, like little photo ops, like horrible. I hate that man so much. It doesn't share any direct lineage. Yeah, it's not direct. It's like a cousin. It's weird. It's very weird. I mean, maybe it's not a cousin. Maybe it's like, maybe it's a sibling. So it's the same virus, but like, I don't know. It's weird. 2019 War Games, October in Wuhan. See, that's interesting. There's also theories about that. A lot of people are like, yeah, the CCP spread SARS to everyone at the World Games. China takes so much pride in these kind of games. If you look at like pictures or video of the military games, it is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. It would be insane to me if they released this virus intentionally on their own population and other, obviously, like all these visiting people as well, tons of people from all over the world there on purpose. That is crazy, because they're getting their own people sick, one, and two, like, it's ruining this beautiful event they spent so much money on, and they take so much pride in making that look so good. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me. It does make a lot more sense if the United States military released it there. That makes a lot more sense to me. Another theory is SARS-CoV-2 is from a vaccine. It is very possible that SARS-CoV-2 is de-attenuating SARS virus that is engineered in a lab, because they're like all the molecular evidence is showing that it's definitely from a lab. But it could have been a vaccine. It could have been a military vaccine. Military vaccines are never approved. If you've ever talked to someone who's in the army that's traveled overseas, they've been jabbed with all kinds of crap. They don't know what half the stuff is. Yeah, it does happen. So they could have potentially given vaccines to some of the athletes that were headed over to Wuhan, and they could have had a de-attenuating vaccine that actually became airborne and spread to other people. That actually is not that far-fetched of a theory, although this really does feel intentional. It really does. I don't know. All I know is that China and America are both at fault. To what degree? I don't know. But America and China were both doing really shady research, which led to this. So that's fact. I read recently that something Gulf War syndrome was the result of vaccination. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that was anthrax vaccines. They were like, those people were in so much pain. Thousands of people. It was a lot of troops. Yeah, that link actually makes a lot of sense, because they were the guinea pigs for this I think it was anthrax vaccine, which is crazy to think about, because anthrax became a whole big thing here in America. Well, self-replicating spike protein. Yeah, man, that spike protein business is no joke. It is no joke. All right, so if you're getting here late, I was talking about the weird bills that the New York State Democrats introduced in 2019. One passed to get rid of religious exemptions for kids, kicked a lot of kids out of school. There was a lot of hoo-ha. Some kids got to go back to school, and there's a whole thing. And then there's some other really shady bills that were trying to allow schools to vaccinate kids behind their parents' back, which I think is so shady. I think it's so wrong. And those bills didn't pass, thank goodness. But the timing of those bills is weird. This is early 2019. That summer is when they passed the religious exemption bill, and then there was a lot of court drama, court battles going into the fall. Not a big news thing. It's only a big news thing when there's an outbreak and they want to blame anti-vaxxers for an outbreak when it's sometimes vaccine strain viruses spreading from vaccinated kids to sometimes unvaccinated kids. But there was one more event that happened in 2019 in the state of New York, which I think is interesting. And I want to show you part of a video. It's like 20 something minutes long. We're not going to watch all that. But Westchester County, which is just north of New York City, just north of the Bronx, they passed a county bill. And they used the measles outbreak of 2018 as their reasoning for this, where in an emergency situation, let's say, if there's a big outbreak of a communicable disease, they can mandate adult vaccination. Adult vaccination. And I thought this was interesting because the measles cases were, I think, primarily or all children. So I don't know what the inspiration was for a vaccine mandate for adults. Now, this is where it gets really, really weird for me. What outbreaks in adults have we had in America in our lifetime? There's been kiddie stuff, which happens, and that's part of being a kid. You get these viruses and stuff that go around, actually usually bacteria. But what really inspired adult vaccination? Measles? I don't think so. So I want to show a little video when they announced this bill. This does not sit well with me.
Before you open it up to questions, just one sort of symbolic comment to try to drag this together. It may seem like a bit of a non sequitur, but my father lived to the age of 82, passed away through a combination of illnesses that took his life. The last week of his life, he was in the medical center here in Westchester County, where he got high-quality medical care. And during that period of time, my sister and I visited him nightly to see how Dad was doing. And, of course, we lost him, which happens to all of us in our family. But during that period of time, I put my faith not in a personal ideology, not in whatever I thought I had learned in my career in public or private business, but I put my faith in the healthcare professionals that were doing everything they could to save his life. And more often than not, it were the nurses that I spoke to, the nurses who were on duty. And they tried to provide information and comfort to a family member. They do it every day, depending on where you practice your craft. And the medical doctors who are here amongst us do the same thing at the front end of life, when a new child is born, and all throughout your life. Whenever you have an ache and pain, we all understand this. I was at a public press conference where we were showing off a new blood pressure device in Yonkers, and I tested my own blood pressure. It was sky high, and all of a sudden, I wasn't a county executive. I was just an overweight old guy that got scared pretty fast. Went to my medical doctor. We did a bunch of tests. I wasn't in as bad shape as I thought I was. But what it tells you, in moments of personal crisis, you stop thinking about all this other stuff, and you look in the eyes of these people, and you ask yourself, can I trust them with my father's life? Can I trust them with my own life? Can I trust them with making decisions that aren't based on the color of your skin, isn't based on your gender, but is based on the knowledge that they've accumulated over time?
What? Did he really find a way to insert identity politics into that? His father didn't die of a communicable disease. This bill that they're signing is mandatory adult vaccination in the event of some kind of outbreak. What is he talking about?
I did that for my father, and I did that for myself. So why wouldn't I, as county executive, sign a bill that gives these people the right to make those decisions when the county is in crisis? That is simply what this bill is. And I'm now going to sign it into law. right?
Yes.
September?
I just find this so bizarre. Yeah, we live in the upside down. That's right.
Now, well, we don't have really cool pens out for you, but it's yours. So we'll open it up to questions from the press, which any of us, they can be directed to any of us as you see fit. And then after we do general questions, then we'll stay here because you're probably going to get the you're probably going to have to answer the question. All right, so our friends in the press, any questions that you may have? If there are no general questions, then we'll leave it open to individual interviews. You're welcome to interview Dr. Amler or
I've got questions.
Lori. Do I call you doctor? Doctor. Lori is fine. Lori the doctor. How about that? Or legislator Williams or any of the other folks here.
Dr. Amler, how much was a hindrance?
On mic.
If you want to call it a hindrance, was the law as it currently exists for you in light of the recent measles outbreak?
Well, this kind of all came about because this summer we were facing a question of what were we going to do with our summer camps if there was still measles cases within Westchester. And you saw what happened in Rockland and Orange. We did not have the ability to do that. We could not say to the individuals working, even if we had a case of measles in the camp, we wouldn't have been able to say to them, you know, you cannot be here if you are not vaccinated. Or we could have tried to leverage it, but we wanted actually to have it in law so that when we said, you know, you must, if you are going to work in this camp, you must be vaccinated because we have an outbreak of measles in our community. We wanted that to be soundly grounded in the law. And so that's what this does. So let's say if measles persists, we get people from all over the world who come here to working in camps over the summer, and some of them come from countries where diseases are rampant and where immunizations are not given. And so if they come in and they've not been vaccinated and they bring their diseases, you know, with them, so to speak, they have the ability to spread disease within this community.
This is not. You cannot use the measles outbreak as your excuse and then turn around and be like, well, some person might come from some dirty place and we need to ensure they're vaccinated. What are you talking about? What? We don't even make sure adults are vaccinated that are from America. What are you talking about? Oh, some person from some dirty place might come here. That has nothing to do with the measles outbreak that you just referenced. What are you talking about? The measles outbreak was in kids and most likely from a vaccine. Vaccine strain spread. It happens. No, thousands of cases, 0 deaths in children. It's okay. It happens. Move on. Weird.
Basically kind of what happened with the whole measles outbreak. We had someone coming in from out of the country who came in and brought measles with them. And Rockland has had hundreds of cases of measles. We've had 8 cases. New York City's had a number of cases in the Brooklyn area. There have been cases in a number of states across the country. So shouldn't we have the ability to say, if you're coming in from a country where disease is prevalent and you're going to work in our community, we want to know that you're not going to bring diseases with you, that you're going to come in and our community is going to be safe. In the camp, sometimes.
Safe from what? What vaccinations? What are you talking about? Like vaccinations for diseases from their country or diseases? Like what diseases? Like what do you be more specific? Because there's a shit ton of viruses, shit ton of bacteria out there. I mean, we have a laundry list. We have like 16 different vaccines that we give kids, 72 shots. We have a huge list. Are you going to make them get all that before they enter the country? What are you talking about? What are you really talking about?
There are people that could not be vaccinated. Even if their parents want to, they can't vaccinate them. They might have some kind of immune compromising disease. They might have cancer. And for them, a vaccine is not possible. And so if the parents can't feel safe that their child is in a safe environment, the kids don't get to go to camp. That's just an example.
Besides the camp, is there another loophole fixed?
Well, I think if we were to have another major outbreak of hepatitis A, we certainly then would have the ability to say, you know, if you're going to be serving food in a restaurant or this particular area where we have known cases of hepatitis A, you must be vaccinated. I mean, that people who go into restaurants basically have an assurance, or they feel that the people who are serving the food are not carrying some kind of communicable disease and food to eat. I don't think that's an unreasonable assumption. So
the law, as it currently stands,
Do you really think people get Hep A from servers who?
if there was an outbreak, if there was we say outbreaks, you know, that's our whole point. But if, let's just say, for example, if there was an outbreak of hepatitis, we not have the authority to say every food handler in the area must be vaccinated. And so sometimes when you get into certain outbreak situations where you know you have disease, that certain people are placing the public at risk, it would at least allow the Board of Health to. This bill doesn't dictate anything in regards to immunizations. What it does is it allows, in consultation with the people who know the circumstances, take a decision around what is best to serve the public, to protect the public in what we find ourselves.
Let me just add something to that as well. I think it's important.
Oh, here he comes.
This
Here he comes.
legislation, I think, and Alfreda referenced it, and if you were to watch the debate or the discussion that occurred in committee at the Board of Legislators, it's assessment of what happened this summer. So without a crisis like that, and we didn't have the brunt of it, we started it. And so the board, to their credit, tried to be, in the same way that you are, preventative, to look at what could happen in the future. And it's when you have a test that you didn't expect that you look at a system and you say, we didn't and we ought to sort of plug that loophole, or we ought to refine what we're doing. So this really is an outgrowth of the assessment of what happened in the summertime, and I think frankly it's a good example of you're reacting to a popular cry to do this or that, but it's a thoughtful analysis. Months after we do better. That was the genesis for this legislation and for the reason for us doing it now.
Do you know how long it was as it was that currently passing?
Since time began, as far as we know, Michelle, it's almost like you don't look at a section of pipe in your basement until it starts to leak. If you asked in my basement, I'd say, I don't know. Maybe when I bought the house, maybe not. When it starts to leak, you fix it, you say, hey, I realize now I've got to replace that pipe. And that's really the genesis for what happened here.
I don't know if that's the right metaphor.
You talked about this was a unanimous decision on the part of the legislators, since nobody else has some question.
Yes, it was. Grateful to my colleagues for realizing the need for this, and as I say, it was unanimous.
Now that's interesting because the religious exemption bill, which the religious exemptions that kids were getting, that was a 13-13 tie, actually. That was a third tie. And then Carl Heastie, who was one of the big dogs here in New York State, called over a freshman Democrat and was like, hey, can you change your vote? Definitely pulled a Pelosi, and the guy came back to his seat and he was like, I voted no on this bill, but, I really think it needs to move on, and get a vote. And some stupid speech. So he changed his vote. So it was actually a 13-13 deadlock tie. And the Democrats pulled some shenanigans, and they did it in front of mothers with babies that were filming. They actually let these mothers in for the vote, and they watched, and we watched that video last time. They watched this guy walk across the entire room. Carl Heastie whispered in his ear, and then the dude, whispered something to his seat, made a whole speech, and said, you know what, I think this needs to move on. And then he changed his vote. And the mothers were like, what? So it shows you how shady Democrats were in 2019. This is just another example. Like, but this time it was a unanimous decision. So very interesting how everyone wants mandated vaccines for adults in Westchester County in September of 2019.
And one other thing I would add is that I think we've seen this over and over again. New diseases come to the fore. We don't even know what diseases may be a problem for us in the future. I have no idea. She
has no idea. Listen to this.
They just pop up sometimes, and then you're dealing with that crisis at the moment. And as long as there is
they just pop up sometimes. They just don't they? They just these crises just pop up sometimes. Except me and kids, so it really wasn't a crisis. Kids got sick. It sucks. Vaccine gives them the thing you're vaccinating them against. But you know what? It's not that bad. It's an attenuated vaccine. So the kid gets sick, but the kid does not die. Their immune system is better off for it. But this shit's weird. Some things just pop up. We're just doing this bill because something pop up. What? What were they planning for? Did something happen too early? Did they not get in front of it? I don't know. It's very weird. Just pop up sometimes, like Mary Poppins. Like Mary Poppins. It makes me sick that people right to not get ill and to demonize people deemed potential vectors. Disease and death is a normal part of life. It really, like no one's going around trying to get people sick. No one's going out of their way to. Well, there's your random weirdos sometimes, but like no one's going out of their way to make people sick. That's not the idea of this. But yeah, some things just pop up. That does not sit well with me.
Medical vaccine that can prevent a disease is always something that we have to consider among many other things. It gives us the ability to use the tools that we have. And the key here is in the time, because once you have disease, if I have to wait 3 months or longer to put measures into place, it can really get away from you. And so this gives us the ability to respond in a timely manner when the need arises. And I think that's really the key measure.
Welcome, Big and Succubus. You're late. You are late. You just missed something important. So you were here at the last stream. You recall the 5 weird bills that Democrats were pushing. They got the religious exemption bill through. They were trying to vaccinate teenagers. They were trying to do that behind their, the kids or the parents' backs. That was the New York State Dems. So this happened in September of 2019. This is Westchester County. It's one county north of New York City, north of the Bronx, northernmost borough. They passed a bill locally in their county that gives all the power to if there's some kind of outbreak, right? Also, it is for mandatory adult vaccinations. This thing is happening, which this is inspired by the measles of 2018, 2019 is when it, I think, peaked in their area. I think it was all kids or mostly kids. No one died. They called it an epidemic. They used it. They politicized it. The big deal. But all these bills that kind of were, being introduced, not big stories, and it was and they're shady bills. Some of them are shady ass bills. Yeah. Look what she says. We'll go back because this one kills me, man. She says some. Look what she says.
They just pop up sometimes.
Oh, that's it right there. You have to hear this shit. You cannot.
It was unanimous.
So it was a unanimous vote in Westchester County.
And one other thing I would add is that we've seen this over and over again with public health. New diseases come to the fore. We don't even know diseases may be a problem for us in the future. I have no idea. They just pop up sometimes.
New diseases pop up sometimes. September 2019, Westchester County. They just pop up sometimes. The country probably in September 2019. something that just popped up. Not saying that's related, but that's really bizarre timing, guys. With all the other shady shit that Democrats were doing in the state of New York in 2019. That is shady, shady. That's all we need to see from that video. We've seen enough. What's going on? What's going on? The Democrats were trying to pass. They got the religious exemption. Westchester County got that, the mandatory vaccination, basically, the power. Very, very weird. And also, New York and California introduced bills where they could throw you into a quarantine camp if there's a community, and they declared some kind of emergency. They can literally snatch you up, throw you in a quarantine camp, and force inject you with whatever they want. Those bills were introduced in both California and in 2019. Call me a conspiracy theorist. I didn't write the fucking bills, guys. So I don't know what was going on in New York and California. They keep citing the measles. Because California and New York both had outbreaks. Really interesting. Can't be related. No way. Across the country? I mean, maybe. Probably the vaccine. De-attenuating vaccines. It happens. It happens with mumps. It happens with measles. Flu. Flu vaccines can make you contagious. It's a thing. Right in our fucking face. It feels like a slap in the face. And then it's very weird. Very weird. You know, California and New York were doing these things. They're planting these little seeds, kind of, you know. And as the vaccines are rolling out in 2021, we get a Democrat president. It's just the timing is just so weird with all of this. I don't know. Maybe it's just a lot of. It could be. I'm not saying that it's all planned, but it feels sometimes when you look at all the coincidences, and there are so many, and I keep finding more and more and more. It feels very planned. It feels very planned. Of New York and testing AIDS medicine on children, plucked kids out of the ghetto, and they all died. Yeah, that's sad. I don't know if I have any video of that, but if there's anything good, I will one day. But that's they tested on a lot of retarded children, if I'm not mistaken. Just the sickest of sick. That's so evil. But yep, that used to be back in the day, unfortunately. Not so much anymore, I hope. You never know. You never ever know. So that video right there leads us to. So fast forward to 2021. Oh boy, things get fun. So I'm gonna share a little share screen here. All right. I'm gonna. Oh, this is. Right. Here we go. So, y'all can see this. Oh man. So this was 2 days ago. Mom says son vaccinated in exchange for pizza at LAUSD without her consent. Los Angeles high school. You cannot make this up. I'm just gonna play the video.
Parents are questioning the vaccine mandate for LAUSD, and now at least 2 parents are accusing the district of giving their children the vaccine at school without their consent. So, what are school administrators saying about this?
NBC4's Johnny Pettis Slimek has more now from South Los Angeles. Even though the vaccine mandate for LAUSD doesn't go into effect until January 10th, some parents tell us that they believe their kids are being pressured into getting the jab.
I should have been involved.
Maribel Duarte says
You think?
her 13-year-old son, a student at the Barack Obama Global Prep Academy in South LA.
Barack Obama.
This vaccine
Look at this shit.
having accepted the COVID-19 vaccine at school. She says he said yes when someone offered it in exchange for pizza.
The lady that gave him
Yeah, teenager's gonna say yes to pizza, dumb fuck.
I told my son, please do not say anything. I don't want to get in trouble.
LAUSD says student matters are confidential and wouldn't comment specifically, but did say its Safe Schools to Safe Steps incentive program is meant to ensure several steps are in place for vaccinated students to receive prizes. Duarte says she's not against the vaccine. She's vaccinated herself, but it's different with her son.
In regarding my son's health, I am against it.
Because he's got some underlying conditions that concern you?
Yes. He has problems with asthma and allergy problems. These grotesque contests and displays of treatment and candy and gifts and favors, raffles and cash prizes, inducing the kids to get the vaccination.
I like her.
But here's the problem. Kids in California cannot consent to vaccination.
Thank you. I've been looking for this person my fucking whole life.
Making their way through court. Both are ultimately seeking an end to that mandate.
The LAUSD does not have the power to add a vaccine shot to the California school schedule. You couldn't do it if you're a Podunk school district, and you can't do it even if you're LA Unified, the second biggest in the nation. You don't have that legal authority.
In California, school vaccines are handled through the State Department of Public Health and created into law through the state legislature. Neither has gone so far as to officially make the mandate.
Even the existence of the mandate in the schools has created these environments of pressure and bullying, segregation, discrimination, and accidental vaccination of kids without parental consent.
LAUSD says as of the Thanksgiving break, 80% of eligible students at Obama Prep have been vaccinated. Maribel worries some of those were done without parents even knowing.
Jesus Christ.
To know that we got a shot without my permission, without me even knowing or signing any papers for him to get this shot.
A school administrator here on campus came over to tell us that they do not believe these allegations to be true. In fact, he told us that he believes more often than not, parents will lie about the whole vaccine issue. Reporting from South LA, I'm John Kenny's Cleveback, NBC4 News.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Parents will just lie about the whole vaccine thing. What? So this parent... Oh, shoot. My video's still playing. So parents will get their kids vaccinated. They will consent for their kid. And then they'll turn around and lie? What? What are you talking about? What? I cannot... Something's not right, guys. Like, did you hear that? The school's clearly covering it up. Why are they doing this? Like, what is that? What's going on? Like, that's crazy. And did you see that? They were the Barack Obama Eagles. Oh my God. At least they weren't the Barack Obama drones, I guess, but Jesus Christ. Horrible. How can this be real life? That's what I ask this every day, and people people in my neighborhood are like, "Oh my God, I got my booster, love life, felt like shit for 7 days, but like, nothing's wrong, just those anti-vaxxers." No, there's a fucking there's an engineered virus going around. We know nothing about it, guys. Like, hello, like it's crazy. What's Newsom saying? I don't know, dude. What is Newsom saying? Newsom sucks. Newsom, a lot of rumors that he was vaccine injured. That would be crazy. That couldn't happen to a better guy, But yeah, there's a lot of rumors, and he kind of fell off the map after his, was it a booster? A few weeks back, he kind of he's popped up here and there, but he looks a little bit different. He wears a mask a lot. He doesn't take as many photos. He doesn't go to as many events. Maybe not. It's speculation. But boy, that would change the game. That would change the game if that information leaked out. Who knows? Yeah, Gavin Newsom doesn't give a shit. He's probably loving it. He probably didn't vaccinate his own kids, and he's probably loving that these kids are getting vaccinated behind their parents' backs. I'm sure he doesn't care. That's the kind of guy he is. I hate to say it, but And who sucks just as much as Gavin Newsom? Well, my dude here. So the pizza thing reminded me of this, which we're going to take a look at. This schmuck right here. My mayor, Bill Bozo. Yeah, he pulled this stunt back in May. I'll never forget it. Oh, this is so quiet. Speak up, Bozo.
Incentives help. They really do. And so we've been announcing free tickets, gift cards, all sorts of incentives to encourage people. A lot of people are really vaccinated. They just haven't gotten around to it. They need a little extra incentive. We're doing that now. And we are going to have a live correspondent this morning talk about this, and from a site that means a lot to all of us as New Yorkers. Because one thing I think that does unite New Yorkers is a love of Shake Shack. So, live from the original Shake Shack location in Madison Square Park, the CEO of Shake Shack, and he is generous.
Why is he so smug?
My pleasure to introduce CEO Randy Garutti. Welcome, Randy.
Look at this guy signing in the corner.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, New Yorkers. I'm Randy Garutti, the CEO of Shake Shack, and we are here live in Madison Square Park at the original Shack. 20 years ago, this Shack was born as a humble New York City hot dog cart to raise a little money for this park. And even today, all of our rent goes directly to paying for this park's beautification. We were born and raised in this city. We are proudly headquartered here in New York, and we are a New York company. And this year, we've been working hard to take care of our team, and our team has been working hard to take care of the recovery of this city and our communities.
What?
We got one more we want to add for you, New York. You know.
Oh my gosh, my YouTube's wigging out. Bear with me. So
These incredible mobile vaccine most underserved communities here in New York. When you get your vaccine,
gotta love these
next few days,
private-public partnerships.
every time you get your vaccine. Even better than that, our 25 Shacks around New York City. Anytime you go for the next month, you're there grabbing your burger, your chicken sandwich, show us your vaccine card. We'll get you a free fries on us to say thank you. We are so excited. We love this city. We live here too. And we're going to get back. Get your vax, get your Shack, and let's gather up as a community again. The Shake Shack team is here for you in New York. We'll see you soon all around New York City and Shack.
That is so weird.
Thank you so much, Randy.
This is even weirder.
Shake Shack team, this is really going to help us out. Did you say free fries when you get
No.
vaccinated?
Oh God.
Not vaccinated. You're saying I could get this delicious fries? Wait a minute. But there's also a burger element to this?
What the fuck?
Let me check with Bill Neathart. Is it too early in the day to eat a burger? No. This could be breakfast? Okay. I want you to look at this and think about, again, some people love hamburgers, some don't. Really want to respect all ways of life. But if this is appealing to you, just think of this when you think of vaccination.
What the hell is going on?
Vaccination.
He looks nervous.
A very good feeling about vaccination right this moment. Thank you to
What is happening?
Rudy and of course Danny Meyer, who's doing so much to help us with the recovery, and the entire team.
I can't
Just chewing for a moment.
I can't watch any more of this.
I think that would be more dignified, don't you think?
Shut up. What just happened?
Everyone, we're gonna.
Shut up. What on earth? Yeah, what the fuck? Myocarditis for free fries. What? Yeah, it's and it's fast food, which is gonna clog your heart anyways. It's like they're trying to kill us. You know? It's weird because they were giving away Krispy Kreme, they were giving away fucking Shake Shack, like all this shit that's horrible for you. You know, they're like, stay inside, don't get sunlight, don't get vitamin D, don't get exercise, be sedentary, eat Shake Shack, eat fucking donuts, and then get this shot. Something like what the like this is the health authorities really care about us, guys. They really care about us. They really, really do. What is going on? That was creepy. Like, who came up with that shit? And who's telling the mayor of New York to do this shit? There's no way he made that decision himself. He's like, you know what'll go over well is when I do this creepy hamburger bit. No, not at all. That was creepy. That was weird. Free Shake Shack aside, that was fucking weird. That's weird. Captain Weirdo from Weirdo World. Like, seriously, there's something wrong with what that was. That was propaganda. That is propaganda. I'm seeing more and more just straight propaganda. And this is not about public health. That kind of shit is not about public health. Nope. There is an agenda, and it is weird. And I still haven't figured it all out. I still don't know what the end game is. There's corporate consolidation. There's monopolizing big pharma. There's, crushing small business, which happened. I think like 1 million businesses have closed over the course of the pandemic. And that allows, companies like BlackRock, which, they manage trillions of dollars. They can come in and swoop up and buy property and transform things. In New York in particular, with our mandates, it is messing things up. And New York is set to be the first smart city in America, probably by 2030, so if they can wreck this city, which I feel like they're trying to wreck this city, they're going to destroy a lot of legacy industries like Broadway, in my opinion. I don't think Broadway will go away all the way. We might lose some houses. We have 41 Broadway houses, I believe. I don't know if it's sustainable anymore. It's expensive, very expensive to produce a Broadway show. And who's going to go if children have to show papers? Like, families aren't going to buy tickets. It is a big tourist destination. Who's going to go to Aladdin if 5-year-olds have to show papers on December 22nd, which is still up in the air? That might happen. The Christmas crowd? You're literally telling the Christmas crowd that their kids have to show papers to go to Aladdin? Are you kidding me? That's how you don't sell tickets. Are you trying to wreck the economy of New York? Because I feel like you are. And I feel like BlackRock's going to come in, and Vanguard's going to come in. They're going to swoop up. They're going to buy everything. And then Governor Cuomo, who in 2019, because that was a big year for Democrats making moves. That summer, he signed a deal. It was June, I believe. So late spring, early summer, signed a deal. 17 contracts with Israel to transform New York and the state of New York, or the state of New York also. But I think it's really all about New York City. Even though we're supposed to have several smart cities in the state of New York City is like the important one, and it is a very, like, all the Congress people here in New York City have to be pro-Israel. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's a huge thing here. It actually got Andrew Yang into trouble when he was running for mayor. He didn't have much to say about Palestine. People were pissed about his stance on BDS. So, it's all weird that all the ducks that Democrats lined up, put in a row, it's just, boom, got them. The dominoes are falling perfectly for the Democrats here. It's so weird. Very interesting vaccination laws, weird mandates that are just literally destroying business, destroying legacy industries, a lot of brick and mortar. And then Israeli contractors are going to swoop in. They're going to change healthcare. They're going to change transportation. They're going to change cybersecurity. Don't you want Israel to work on cybersecurity for us? What? But like a lot of big tech R&D has moved to Israel. A lot of people don't know that. Microsoft, a lot of their most important work happens in Israel. In Israel, not Silicon Valley, not Washington State. Israel. I'm dying. They're killing me here in New York. Got to get the population to under 1 billion. It feels like it sometimes. Remember the now pulled PSA that was telling people how hard it was to lose a pound of fat and that getting jabbed is easier? No, I don't know that I saw that, but it's weird that they wanted to give people fatty foods with their vaccines. They want us all on the metaverse instead. They really do. And that's probably something they're trying to move in. It's really hard to push the metaverse in an old city like New York, which they're trying to turn into a smart city. How are you going to do that when everything's brick and mortar? Everything's really old. It's got a crumbling infrastructure. We live on this island of Manhattan. Some of us live across the river in Queens or Brooklyn, or way down in Staten Island, or up in the Bronx, wherever we live here. It's a big city. Very congested, right? Very old for United States. How do you turn it into this smart city? You wreck everything. You wreck the businesses. Blame COVID, and then you could come in. See, if this plays out like this, then I know COVID was planned. The whole thing was planned from day one. If it plays out like that, we'll see. I'm just speculating again. But yeah, that's how you turn it into the metaverse, right? So those Broadway houses can get demolished or transformed into like VR, digital, blah, 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 whatever the metaverse actually is they have a plan, I'm sure, and I'm sure it's top secret. But whatever it is, I'm sure they're going to try to implement it. I'm sure that they're going to try to implement it. You can just sell digital tickets and have digital audiences. They really want people to stay home a lot too. They really don't want people to travel anymore. Buttigieg trying to charge people per mile they travel. Fuck you. How are you going to measure that? I would not show anyone my odometer if I had a car. I'd be like, boink. Hell no. Ain't gonna happen. Yes, please tweet it at me if you find that. That's special. Saw an article exposing how easy it is to get a stroke. The people in the photos looked in their 30s. Yeah, they're trying to justify young people getting strokes and heart attacks lately. There was that one article that said 300,000 people might have post-pandemic stress and have heart problems. 300,000 people. Post-pandemic stress disorder. I don't know, man. There are people who have PTSD from war, and they don't even have heart problems, some of them. So you're going to tell me the people that were sitting on the couch during the pandemic or have heart problems now? I mean, some of them, if they were sedentary, maybe, and they weren't moving around, not getting exercise, maybe. But 300,000 people suddenly have heart problems? I think we're covering something up, guys. Something's weird. 300,000 is a big number. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, look that one up. You can just look it up. Just say type in post-pandemic stress disorder into DuckDuckGo or whatever search engine you prefer, and type in 300,000. It'll probably be the first thing that pops up. It's a real thing. They're really trying to push this shit. You're not seeing it so much in the mainstream. You're seeing it in like the mainstream owned upper class indie or like the upper indie papers. They seem like off-brand or independent papers, but they're really owned by the same people that owns mainstream media. It's in those kind of publications that you're seeing these stories pop up. Not as much in like the NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, Fox world, and that notch below where it's definitely well funded, but it just looks more independent. It's so weird. It's so weird where they place these articles because it is very coordinated, very planned how they do the propaganda. Very interesting. Very interesting. So that was back in May. Bill Bozo, who leaves next month. Thank goodness, even though he's just going to turn it over to the cop from New Jersey, Eric Adams, who's going to do the same exact thing because, well, that's who the DNC wanted, to be honest. They got their guy, even with ranked choice voting. So here we are. It's 1984. Reality is being altered in real time to align with the agenda of the party. That's how it seems. You're not wrong. So fast forward, and Bill Bozo, he's not done. He's trying to get 5-year-olds to show their papers by the end of the month, trying to get all public employees to get the boop boop before he's out. And then, of course, this interview is hilarious. He's just a special guy.
1,000 people. That's not good. Joining us now, the mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio. And Bill, you are revealing
What a weirdo.
New measures to keep COVID infection cases down. What are they?
Yeah, Mika, look, when you just talked about an attack on democracy, well, we're under attack a different way right now from the coronavirus. And
Shut the fuck up.
Omicron is a new factor. We've got the colder weather, which is going to really create additional challenges with the Delta variant. We've got holiday gatherings. We in New York City have decided to use a preemptive strategy.
We? Who's we?
Something bold to stop the further growth of COVID and the dangers it's causing to all of us. So as of today, we're going to announce a first-in-the-nation measure. Our health commissioner will announce a vaccine mandate for private sector employers across the board. All private sector.
I meant private. I think I said public earlier.
Will be covered by this vaccine mandate as of this.
Look at this shit.
We're going to have some other measures as well to really focus on maximizing vaccination quickly so we can get ahead of Omicron and all the other challenges we're facing right now.
And J&J people have to get a second vaccine. Mix and match.
First of all, that's anybody and everybody who works in New York City has a vaccine mandate at this point. How do you enforce this?
We're going to work with the business community. We've seen a lot of cooperation so far when we had put in place our mandate, for example, for restaurants, indoor entertainment, indoor fitness. We actually got a lot of cooperation. There were a few times where we had to penalize people, but it was rare. So we're going to put together the rules, work with the business community. But I'll tell you something.
Yeah, because people don't want to lose their fucking businesses that are already hurting. Asshole.
Governors, CEOs all over the country use these vaccine mandates, and the more universal they are, the more likely employees will say, okay, it's time, I'm going to do this. Because you can't jump from one industry to another or one company to another. It's something that needs to be universal to protect all of us.
So, Mr. Mayor, you see here.
Yeah, but it doesn't, bitch.
Requiring vaccination for indoor dining, fitness, and entertainment for children, too. Children now have access to the vaccine ages 5 to 11. I will say, I'm surprised that more cities have not followed New York City's lead. Even Washington, D.C. is not required to prove your vaccination status to come in for a restaurant. But talk a little bit
Yeah, it's stupid.
I want to go back to also the mandate for the private sector workers. The Biden administration's efforts to do this, tied up in courts right now, there's a lot of legal challenges. Do you not anticipate the same will happen here? And how confident are you can prevail?
We are confident because it's universal. I don't know all the intricacies of what the Biden administration has been through, but I do know this. Our health commissioner has put a series of mandates in place. They have won in court, state court, federal court, every single time, Jonathan. And it's because they're universal and consistent, and they're about protecting the public right now from a clear and present danger. Our youngest kids, we got to reach them now. Right now in the city, it's about 20% have gotten vaccinated in that 5 to 11 range. It's new. The vaccine's relatively new. But what we're trying to say to parents is it's good.
Shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. Yeah, 20% of kids are vaccinated. Good. Go parents. And yeah, they're making J&J people get a second one. That's how they sold to J&J. They're like, hey, it's a one and done. You can just get boink and you're done. And now they're making those people get another one, of course, because it's never enough. That was the idea from the beginning. It was never going to be enough. They had to get people with the one and done though to get them in. That was bait. They got you. They tricked you. Oh, it's funny how that works. And now they're like, yeah, get the Pfizer. Just do the Pfizer and mix and match, and you'll be fine. Maybe, right? I think the private sector mandate did get shot down because these are private businesses, right? So that did get shot down in court. Or there's gonna be a hearing, I think, on the 14th. That will be early next week. So we'll see what happens with that. But wow, what a legacy. Build Bozo, everyone. Build Bozo. Oh, he is such a turd. He is a turd. That is what he is. I think he was probably only handpicked by the Democratic Party because his daughter is mixed. She's mixed race. Identity politics. Identity politics. He was a fake progressive. He's definitely not progressive. There's nothing progressive about this man. So there it is. Corona's attack on democracy. And we don't have democracy, so it doesn't matter. Just the universal. Yep. I agree. So meanwhile, in the state of Illinois, Democrats are pulling shenanigans. Democrats are always pulling shenanigans. Shall we? Oh, Democrats, Democrats, shady fucking Democrats. So Illinois State Rep introduces bill requiring unvaccinated residents to pay for their own COVID care because nothing screams progressive like medical apartheid. You know what I'm saying? Holy shit. An Illinois Democratic lawmaker has introduced legislation that would require individuals who have not been vaccinated against COVID-19 to pay their own medical expenses, including hospital bills, which they always try to charge you for that shit anyways, right? If they contract the virus. State Rep Jonathan Carroll filed HB 4259 on Monday in Springfield. The legislation would impact those residents who choose not to receive COVID-19 vaccines and would require them to cover medical costs associated with contracting the virus, even if they have health insurance. And in Chicago, who would this probably impact the most? Probably the same group that gets the worst medical care to begin with. Black people, especially black women. So that's very, very interesting. Medical apartheid in the state of Illinois. Very interesting. Carroll says that the bill would serve as an incentive, to residents to get vaccinated and would help curb the spread of the virus in Illinois. That's funny because at the end of that de Blasio interview, he says, "Yeah, mandates are, they think, what does he say? He's like, oh yeah, if you can't, mandates, if you can't work because you're not vaccinated, it's a good incentive to get vaccinated or something like that. It's an incentive, to get vaccinated because you can't work." Well, no shit. So Bill de Blasio literally says the same thing. It's an incentive. It's an incentive. Just like Krispy Kreme was an incentive. Shake Shack was an incentive. The $1 million giveaway to one lucky person or whatever it was in the state of Ohio was an incentive. These incentives started out as like nice, fun things, these nice sweet treats, these rewards, these cute things. And now it's taking away people's jobs. Now it's putting people into medical debt. There's a big agenda here. And the fact that a lot of people don't see this is fucking frightening because it gets worse from here. It's more shots, it's more boosters, and who knows what it does to your health. And there is an element not only of forcing people to comply, not only this element of obedience, making people more obedient, but there's also this experimentation. There's a bit of a medical experimentation. I think the next big thing, it was oil. Oil was like the thing for a while. We were all about the resources and like the new resources for the smart cities, like the uraniums or whatever they have to use to build smart cities, the new precious resources that they have to go steal from Africa and South America and whatnot, the Middle East. That's still a thing, but I think the genome, like, there's something there, and I'm still exploring this world, but something about collecting DNA, putting a bunch of mRNA shit into your system, putting boosters in, saying that's the right thing to do, having no clue because there's no precedent. They didn't even test these things properly, like none of them. There's no precedent, and they definitely don't know what a bunch of them over time will do. This seems like an experiment, and China is very competitive in this world of collecting DNA and doing weird tests on DNA and trying to alter the genome and exploring epigenetics, which is like the little tags on your DNA, and if this marker is a certain way, then it makes you sick, and if this marker is a certain way, then it you're in good health or whatever it is, and you can alter those little pieces of the DNA, and they've been fucking with this. They've spent a lot of money on this. And I think a lot of this is trying to get ahead of the rest of the world, in a weird way. This is why China has their own vaccine. I guarantee you. Also, they're just competitive in that regard, anyways. But there's something going on. There's some kind of Someone's trying to get ahead. This is like the next war. It's not the war. It's not going to take place on soil. The next big war is going to be a scientific war. That's why all the science is bogus right now. Trust the science. Yeah, just take your 7th booster. Well, I don't know. It might help you with the new variant. No, it wasn't designed to protect you from the new variant. In fact, this booster is doing absolutely nothing for Omicron. Absolutely nothing. We're seeing triple boosted, triple shot people getting sick left and right. Not happening, guys. The genome is too different in Omicron. It just doesn't align. It's not working. So this has nothing to do. This is an experiment at this point. Telling people to get a booster that's clearly not even helping them. You're just adding risk, The double shot, fine. If that's helping you a little bit, fine. But like the 3rd shot ain't helping you against this variant. And the fact that they're pushing it like it is, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. They're fucking with you. This is a science experiment. People weren't wrong. People were not wrong when they said that when these vaccines rolled out. Now it's confirmed. At this point, when they're telling you to get something we know doesn't help you, something's wrong. Bark tech. Bizarre. All right, I have one little piece left. And this is from Vegan Succubus. Got it in my email this morning. We're going to go over that real quick. But wait, there's more variants. That's right. Oh my God, there's going to be so much more drama in 2022. This is not going to get better next year. A lot of people are like, "Oh my God, Omicron, it's so mild, and it's very transmissible. Everyone's going to get it, and they're going to have and they're going to get better, and they're going to have, immunity." Nah, brah, this is a fucking Frankenvirus. They fucked this shit up in a lab, yo. All the molecular evidence says this shit is fucked. We don't know how it's going to behave. It is unlike anything anyone has ever seen. This is crazy. This is nuts. We don't know how it's going to go down, but I don't think 2022 is going to be good because everyone's going to start to wake the fuck up, but they're going to be too pussy shit to say something. And I still think they're going to try to fuck over the unvaccinated people. And those are the only people that have been saying the whole fucking year at this point. Well, there's been some good vaccinated allies. I shouldn't say that. But something's weird. Something is so very strange. In 2022, it's going to go down because people are going to be waking up while they're still complying. And they're going to be put in a weird position. They're going to act crazy. People are going to go crazy next year. I feel it. And New York is going to be... all eyes have to be on New York. New York is the center of whatever plot is happening. It is what it is. It's the financial hub of America. Finance is going digital. We have central bank digital currencies that they're definitely going to shove through. They're going to say, COVID, let's do the CBDB thing. Or CBDC thing. Central bank digital currency. Yeah, CBDCs, let's go. So what's Wall Street for then? If they're going to have everything digital, photo ops, what's the point? Will there be an economy in New York? Will we just move on? What is this going to be? It's going to be a smart city, but why? It's going to be a tourist trap. What is it? What is it going to? It's already a tourist trap, I guess, in certain ways. But what is the future of New York with its 17 Israeli contracts to literally redo everything? What is that? And why do none of us have any say in any of this? Nothing. There's no democracy. Because they're doing all this stuff behind our backs. We're so distracted with COVID because that's all you see on local TV even. COVID. You watch TV, every commercial break, there's a COVID commercial. It's been like this for since the vaccines rolled out. Even before, but especially since the vaccines rolled out, there's always the health guy, the talking head, the Indian dude who's like, get your COVID vaccine, blah, 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 blah. Every fucking commercial break. This is not normal. We know there's a virus. We know there's a vaccine. Why does every commercial break have this commercial? Get a vaccine, get a vaccine. We didn't forget about this shit. We cannot forget about this shit. It's everywhere. What's going on? It's weird in New York. See, some people don't understand. Some people don't live here, and they're like, oh, I just live life, and good for you. It ain't like that here. But most people have bought into the narrative. They don't see how weird that is. They just bought in. Like all this shit is normal, and it is not. There is an agenda. It is weird. Then the coronavirus will infiltrate the internet and online banking glitches from the. Yeah, there will be a cyber something, some kind of cyber attack, very coordinated, false flag event. I'm sure water shortages, climate change lockdowns. They're like, whoa, those lockdowns that we did for COVID didn't work for COVID, but they were great for the environment. Let's do them again. There's gonna be some dumb shit like that. It's just, it's bad. It's bad. COVID vax, then antidepressant commercials. Right. They're like, well, oh, you're experiencing side effects from your COVID vax. Is it making you sad? Well, we have more drugs that you can put into your body to counter the drugs we put into your body. It is the business model of big pharma. These drugs will hurt you, so we'll give you more drugs that will help you, and those drugs will hurt you, so we'll give you more drugs that will help you. It's like a never-ending. It's the greatest scam ever maybe. Big pharma it's a great scam. It really, really is. Joy. All right, here's the last piece of tonight. Shut up, Ricky, and get to it. This is a fun one. Here we go. So this is something that the Washington State Department of Health sent out to everyone in the Department of Health, I suppose. Falsifying vaccine cards or exemptions may result in disciplinary action. All right. So falsifying vaccine cards or exemptions may result in disciplinary action. The Department of Health, DOH, believes that credential holders have a professional obligation to educate and inform their patients about COVID-19 based on science, wink, and verifiable fact. One more time. The Department of Health, DOH, believes that credential holders have a professional obligation to educate and inform their patients about COVID-19 based on science and verifiable fact. They're completely speaking Fauci here. I am the science. I am the science. This is just authoritarian jibber jabber. When healthcare professionals provide medically inaccurate information to their patients, it erodes patient trust in the healthcare system. So, what is inaccurate? In science, there's debate, there's hypothesis. This is what we do, right? This is how science works. There is no verifiable fact when everyone's kind of learning and trying new things and trying to help patients. There's a weird the doctor-patient relationship is actually very weird because sometimes you have these issues and you have to improvise, so to speak. You have your knowledge as a doctor, you have your expertise. Sometimes you actually consult with other doctors that you know, right? And then you try to come up with the best plan, a plan of attack, so to speak, to help your patient. There is no verifiable fact. This is a profession with a lot of gray area, which makes it great to exploit. It's so perfect for authoritarians, like the Democratic Party especially is right now. Both parties are guilty, but especially the Democrats right now. It is so easy for them to exploit this shit because they're like, oh, well, the science says this, the facts are these. Well, that's not true at all, and we've seen a lot of that the past couple of years. Doctors who have had great success with repurposed antiviral drugs, repurposed generic label drugs that cost nothing, squashed. Literally, a bunch of doctors and scientists testified in Congress. They've pulled those videos from YouTube. Did you know? These were on major news stations. These weren't like independent things. These were mainstream media clips that they've pulled from YouTube. Pierre Corey talking about ivermectin, but other things as well. It's not just ivermectin. If you are obsessed with the horse paste, it's not just that. It's hydroxychloroquine, it's chloroquine, fluvoxamine, azithromycin. There's so many things that people have used and had great success with. much safer, much more effective. So what is verifiable fact? Riddle me that, Batman. DOH and its boards and commissions review all complaints about healthcare providers who grant COVID-19 vaccination or mask exemptions that are not based in established science or verifiable fact. There we are again. Practitioners who falsify a COVID-19 vaccination card or grant a vaccine or mask exemption without conducting an appropriate exam. What's an appropriate exam? What? Is there protocol for that? I don't even know if that exists. And without finding a legitimate medical reason supporting such an exemption within the standard of care, may subject themselves to disciplinary action up to and including suspension of their license. Oh, we don't like the way we don't like, we don't like the way you're treating patients. We're going to take away your license because you're not following the science, the verifiable facts. What? This shit is getting weird. Individuals are encouraged to file a complaint if they believe a healthcare professional is issuing COVID-19 vaccination cards or exemptions inappropriately. Oh, we want snitches. Oh, fucking Democrats and their snitches, yep. Or if they feel their healthcare provider is providing medically inaccurate information about COVID-19 to patients. Actually, a doctor probably would not do that. Doctors know that COVID-19 makes people sick. They want to treat the patients. They want to do preventative care. They want to do early treatment. Those things that we actually have zero protocol for. Zero protocol for still to this day in America. Zero. You go to the hospital with COVID, they're like, "Oh, you don't look like you're dying. Go home. Oh, if you're dying, come back, but go home." That's early treatment protocol from the CDC. Yeah, go home. Come back when you're dying. We'll intubate you and give you remdesivir. We'll kill you and then charge your family $3,000 for the remdesivir and God knows how much for the hospital bed and the care and whatnot. Yeah, we'll leave your family with a nice big fat bill, especially if you're unvaccinated in Illinois. What the fuck, motherfuckers? Please include as much information as possible when filing a complaint, including the names of affected patients. The names of affected patients. That sounds like a HIPAA violation, but cool. Anonymous complaints that do not include information about specific patients may not be able to be investigated. Can't you just name the healthcare provider? I'm confused. Okay. For more information about COVID-19, including our vaccine locator, please visit the DOH COVID-19 website or the official State of Washington COVID-19 website. Other resources include the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The people that want you to snitch. Wow. That's good times, guys. That is good times. This is a notice sent out by the Washington Department of Health to care providers, medical, dental, vision, mental health, etc., and anyone who is registered with the state. Thank you, Vegan Succubus, for that addition. You made the stream. Not only what is a verifiable fact, but who decides? Well, we know. It was at the bottom. It was the FDA and the CDC. They are science. They are science. Right? Snitches get stitches. That's how I roll. Snitches get stitches. Yeah. And that is all I have for you tonight. Hi, Paul. This was only about 0.1% of the estimated $5.5 trillion spent on their prescription drugs in the U.S. over the same period. Oh, I just saw this from an NIH-published 2020 study. In the U.S. from 1999 to 2018, the pharmaceutical and health product industry spent $4.7 billion on lobbying the U.S. federal government. This was only about 0.1% of the estimated $5.5 trillion spent on their prescription drugs in the U.S. over the same period. Holy cow. Holy cow. That is nuts, isn't it? All that lobbying paid off, didn't it? It really did. No universal health care in America. No single payer system. And here we are, trapped because we're not allowed to use repurposed generic label drugs as a preventative, as prophylaxis, as early treatment. None of the above, even though other countries are doing it successfully. Hence why countries like, I don't know, name any of them. A lot of them have COVID. COVID is like a thing of the past in some countries, like literally, like Uttar Pradesh, India, low vaccination rate. I think they're at 11%. It's a state in India. It's 230 million people. It's about 2/3 of America, the population. They were spiking this summer. They have no cases, or next to no cases. They have some probably, but next to no cases in Uttar Pradesh. 230 million people. Maybe 11% vaccinated, maybe a little bit more. At the time, it was about 5% fully vaccinated when they were dropping in cases. It wasn't the vaccines that saved them. And when you show people this data, and this is all over the world. This is several countries in Africa, Mexico even is doing much better, right? They all use antivirals. And maybe different ones in different places, but that's okay. They're using antivirals. Anything that clogs, SARS-CoV-2, so those spike proteins, those dangerous spike proteins, not only are cytotoxic to your body, but they help with cell entry. It helps the virus get into cells and replicate. So if you can put anything into your body that's safe, that can block the spike, this is a cell, can you tell? That's a cell. If you can block that spike, if you put something on that spike so it can't get in there, you don't have as much replication. And if you can slow replication, it gives your body time to come in, identify what's in your body, and fucking take it out, yo. Like, I'm not a fucking doctor. I'm not a scientist. What the fuck are healthcare professionals doing in this country? They're all afraid. I keep hearing stories like, oh, I didn't say this. I didn't speak up because I'm afraid of being investigated, or I'm afraid of getting fired. I keep hearing doctors say this all the fucking nurses. I listen to like nurses on Twitter and in like one of those Twitter spaces. I stumbled upon some nurses one night. They're like, yeah, we just don't say anything at work because like we're gonna get fired. What the fuck? Something's wrong. We're still giving people remdesivir in hospitals. It causes organ failure. There was a study months, which said there's no clinical benefit of remdesivir. None. Well, except, gives Big Pharma a lot of money. What? What's going on? Something's wrong. They know there are options. This is why there's mass censorship. It's not about antivirals not working, but boy, people are really, really. It's funny how many millions of people think that antivirals are not working. They've really done a good job. Like you cannot, like you don't see any stories. You don't see any success stories. You don't see doctors in other countries celebrating their medicines so much, but they're working. What's going on? Have they really policed the internet this much? That's crazy. What's your Twitter handle? I can't find you. You can find me. I'm Ricky Rants. You can always find me. My handle's not Ricky Rants, but just type in Ricky Rants with an exclamation point for the I. You'll find me. I'm that guy who's getting canceled by the shit libs. But I don't care. And because of Trump, hate, and right-left tribal culture, war divisions, basically much of the left lost their critical thinking skills. The left, the liberals have no critical thinking skills whatsoever. They don't think for themselves. I can't have a conversation with these people sometimes because they think I'm crazy. I'm like, oh yeah, this vaccine-only approach isn't working. They're like, the vaccines work. I'm like, really? Have you looked at VAERS? They're like, oh, well, VAERS is anyone could put something on VAERS. I'm like, yeah, but this was like the tool they've been using for decades. It's not perfect, and it's not meant to be perfect because it definitely hides a lot of stuff. Big Pharma doesn't want it to be perfect. But it's working as intended, and it's showing us that this is the most dangerous vaccine ever authorized for use in America. Period. Period. We're looking at hundreds of thousands of adverse reactions in one country alone. Millions in the EU. Millions. Like 3 million plus adverse reactions in the EU now. And the UK broke off, right? So don't count them. What? What? It's not good. And you're telling people booster, 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 booster. How many people are going to survive that? Like, eventually people are going to drop dead. Like, this is crazy. We've had plenty of deaths already, but like, eventually it's going to get to the point where we're going to have a lot more vaccine deaths and we're going to have COVID deaths. That's just all there is to it. So we need a different plan. The ruling class is very clever in their manipulations. I mean, they're very clever, but like at this point, however, like, whew, I mean, people they're bought in. They've bought in so much where they're less clever now. They're just blatantly evil. like, it's just great. It's like just blatant propaganda, but they bought in so much they don't see it anymore because they bought in. And then like half of us are like, "What is going on?" And the other half are like, "Just tell me what to do." I don't know anymore. It's nuts. It is like 50-50 in this country though. It's like half and half. It's like half and half. Twitter needs to be a thing of the past. Twitter is the only reason why I have you people. So not all of you, but most of you. So no, I need Twitter. I need Twitter. Don't censor me. Don't ruin me. I do like Twitter as a. I used to hate Twitter when it first came out. I'm like, what is this for? News and only so many characters that you can type in. Nah, hated the idea of Twitter, and then it became my favorite. I hate Facebook now. Everyone's a shitlib on my Facebook. I don't know what. I go over there and I'm like, people are celebrating boosters. Yeah, I just got my booster. I have body aches and I'm puking, but I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I'm dying. Like, fucking idiot. What are you talking about, clown? I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're virtue signaling on Facebook. You want a sticker too? It's like the I voted sticker. Oh my god, you did so good. You voted for someone, but the primary's rigged, but good job. Here's a sticker. As long as we give you a sticker, you feel like you've done something. You won't think that, maybe the primary's rigged and we always get who we want. Wink. When's the last time you saw a hero in politics? Kashama Sawant, and they're out to get her. That's it. She's the only one I think she's the only one that I think actually would go down fighting. They all cave, every single one of them. Kashama Sawant's the only person in politics that I know of that is not a fucking establishment hack. I can't think of anyone else. Even the independents, they're fucking hacks. Oh my god. Kashama Sawant. And maybe you don't like her policies or whatever, because some of you might not be that far left. That's fine. But at least she fights for what she believes in. She fights for people. She doesn't fight for corporations. She doesn't fight for this pharmaceutical bullshit. She might even believe in vaccines and shit that I think is a horrible. I think it's horrible. I just think if we didn't give people just one option, everyone would see this differently. Everyone would see this differently. But when you're in this panic mode, crisis mode, and they're like, oh, well, we're looking into all these things, but we're really suppressing generic label antivirals. This is it. The vaccine. That's it. That's our solution. People are like, yeah, that's the solution. That's the solution, right? And it is mass psychosis, mass formation, as doctors will say. And they flock towards the solution. There's this invisible threat, right? I don't want to die. And they go right to that thing. That's the solution. And then everything else is kind of silenced or smeared. And they're like, yeah, those are horrible things. Those are horrible. I need this thing. It's going to save me, right? But if you were presented with another option and it was more safe and more effective, you'd probably take it. That's why I'm not with this at all, because it's not going to end well. Call me crazy. I don't give a shit. I'm really tired of that shit. When people look me in the eyes and tell me I'm crazy, when I've done the fucking research. And then they mock people who did their own research this past couple of years. Good for you. But I'm smart. Yeah, some of those people did their own research and they're like, yeah, there's a fucking nanobot that's forming in my body right now and that could be true actually because that technology exists. I'm not about that life. I'm actually smart. I can put two and two together. There's something wrong. There's something wrong. This will not end well. This will not end well. I don't know what's going to happen, guys. I don't know if it's going to matter if Republicans win in 2022. Never voted for a Republican in my life, but it almost feels like they have to flip. They have to flip the House and Senate. They just need to. And I won't vote for a Republican or a Democrat, but something needs to happen. I really would love to see more people vote third party just to spite the system, even if they don't even know anything about third parties. Although the Green Party is embarrassing itself right now, actually embarrassing itself. But the shitlibs are doubling down, so the Green Party they made an official announcement that they're pro-mandate. Why would you even do that? Why would you make that announcement? You could be like pro-vaccine, pro-choice, pro-vaccine would work. You just say, oh yeah, we're pro-vaccine. If you decide you need to get that, you need to get that. We encourage you to get that. That's fine. Pro-mandate? That's some Nazi shit, yo. How do you think Nazi Germany started, yo? Oh my god, what is... Ooh, that video. Ooh, okay. I might have to look something up here. See it. I don't know. Did I save that? Let me see. No, I did see a video. Let me see if I can find this on YouTube or something. There's a video of this man. It might be a BitChute, actually. Is there anything on YouTube anymore? Not really. He was talking about surviving Nazi Germany. This was probably 10 years ago or something. He's an old man. And everything he was thinking about now, it's like early Nazi Germany is what it feels like to me. And I know that sounds dramatic, but I don't care. If I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Probably not. If anyone knows that video. Basically, it's how they segregated people and how they said, oh, only these kids can't play, these kids can't go here. And it started off very simple, like, oh yeah, okay, those kids can't play with those kids, whatever, then we'll just play without those other kids, it's fine. And it got worse, and it got worse, and it got worse until it was literally Nazi Germany. That story, it blew my mind. Why didn't I save that video? That is an important video. I need to find that. I don't see it. Shit. I have to find that one day. Maybe I'll play it on a different stream. It was so good. LA Unified has fired 500 staff and plans to dismiss 34,000 kids. Dismiss? Wait, Unified has fired 500 staff and plans to dismiss 34,000 kids. You dismiss kids? Like what? How do you dismiss kids? For what? I have to look this up. This is huge. What is happening? It happens live here, folks, on the Ricky Rants. Let me look it up. see what we got here. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, this is a few days old. I didn't even... How did I not see this? Oh my god. LA Times wants you to pay. I'm not going to pay. Get out of here, bitch. What? Is this why they were force jabbing kids so they wouldn't get kicked out of school? It's a lose-lose, man. It's a lose-lose. Yeah, this is a couple days ago. Well, let's look at this, huh? Shall we? Shall we look at it together? Let's do it. Let's go on over here. All right. So LA School Board fires 500 employees who didn't get vaccinated against COVID. Hold the line. Nearly 500 Los Angeles Unified School District employees were fired this week for refusing to comply with a mandate that they get vaccinated against COVID-19, while some 34,000 have not yet been vaccinated as required. Because kids are more likely to go to the hospital with myocarditis than COVID-19. You weird motherfuckers. The school board voted 7-0 in separate motions on Tuesday to terminate 496 employees who make up less than 1% of the district's approximately 73,496 are legit. Good for y'all. That's hard to do when it's your job. I get it. Hard to do. Most of those fired had likely been on leave since mid-October when LAUSD staffers were to have received at least their first vaccine dose. The Los Angeles Daily News reported employees were required to receive their second dose by November 15th. Parting ways with individuals who choose to be vaccinated is an extremely difficult but necessary decision to ensure the safety of all in our school community. Interim Superintendent Megan Riley said in a statement, was the last superintendent kicked out because they didn't get vaccinated? This shit's crazy. We wish everyone the best in their future endeavors and encourage everyone to get vaccinated. Shut the fuck up. Meanwhile, with thousands of students not yet complying with the mandate, there's no longer enough time for kids who have not gotten their first shot to be fully vaccinated by the January 10 start of the second semester, the Los Angeles Times reported. I'm with these parents, yo. They see the shenanigans. They see it now with their kids. They might not have seen it when they got vaccinated, but they're seeing the shenanigans. I like this. This is this is fucked up, but I like what's happening here. LAUSD is one of several large districts in California to adopt their own rules requiring students to get the COVID-19 vaccination ahead of statewide policy that will take effect after federal officials fully approve the immunizations by age group. The state policy announced by Governor Gavin Newsom, fuck that guy, in October is not expected to go into place before July, but the precise date is still unknown. Districts including San Diego Unified, Sacramento City Unified, Oakland, and West Contra Costa are among those that have deadlines for student vaccine policies scheduled to take effect in early 2022. The policies vary according to district, with some allowing students to opt for weekly testing and others making the shot a requirement for in-person classes. In Los Angeles, students who are not fully vaccinated or exempt will be forced into the district's independent study program or will have to leave the Los Angeles public school system. Shifting 34,000 students into independent study would be challenging because that's fucking insane. Because the program faces staffing shortages. Yeah, I think any independent study program with an influx of 34,000 students would not have enough people. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever read in my life. In a statement Wednesday, Los Angeles Unified said about 85% of the district's approximately 600,000 students are in compliance with the mandate, requiring those 12 and older to get their COVID-19 vaccine shots. Okay. That percentage includes students who have received at least one vaccine dose, individuals with a medical exemption, or those who qualify for conditional admission to the district, the Times reported. The last group include homeless or foster youth. Oh my God. Students whose families are in the military and certain special education students. Of the 496 employee dismissals, 418 were classified employees who are non-credentialed but critical staff that can include positions such as instructional aides, custodians, cafeteria workers, and others. So the really poor people. Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. You've done such a good job. Such a good job, KTLA, reporting on that. Awesome. Awesome, Los Angeles. You motherfuckers. I voted Larry Elder and Callie in the recall just because he was Gavin's biggest competition and he was anti-mandate. I know. It's sad. But, you gotta do what you gotta do. Didn't feel great about it. Pretty over electoralism. I am right there with you. But the Dems mandate shit was starting to scare me. It's scary. There's something wrong. There's something really wrong. When you're pushing boosters that don't work at all. Because the first shots, all right, there's debate there. Although there's a lot of science showing us that mortality is not really going down this year. And more people have died of COVID this year with vaccines. You can't just say, oh, it's all unvaccinated. We had less unvaccinated people this year. Everyone was unvaccinated last year. We have a lot less unvaccinated people, but mortality is the same. Something's wrong. So people are either dying in that period where they're unvaccinated between their first jab and 2 weeks after their second jab, because that's called unvaccinated. But you're also immunosuppressed in that period, which they don't talk about. The doctors have been pointing out, oh, you are particularly immunosuppressed in that period. Your T cells are not fully functioning for whatever reason. I don't know. So if you die in that period of adverse reaction or COVID, either, they're going to call it COVID death, unvaccinated. That's how you rig the numbers to make it look like, oh my God, 95% of the people are unvaccinated that are dying. Bullshit. A lot of them were in that unvaccinated period after the first jab. And they call them unvaccinated because that vaccine didn't kick in yet. I think it did because they're immunosuppressed. So it did kick in, just not in a way that helps them. And all the adverse reactions that we don't even look at as part of numbers, right? All you see is COVID deaths and a bloated unvaccinated number. You don't see any of the adverse reaction deaths. There's 20,000 on theirs. That's a low number. That's conservative. We could be looking at 6 figures of vaccine deaths. We'll never know, probably. It's not good. And if we keep getting booster after booster after booster, what's going to happen to people? They keep creating spike proteins in their body. That's not good. I know it wanes after time, so that's fortunate. But every time you get the boop boop, you create trillions of spike proteins that go all throughout your body into your organs. Why is this cool? Why are people into this idea? I'm not. That's crazy. That's cuckoo bananas. I don't want that shit. For what? No, I'm good. We Gucci. Start giving people fucking antivirals, you assholes. You can give me a strike, YouTube. I don't give a fuck. Get the message out. Let's go. Talk about it more, people. But the Dems mandation, maybe they'll bring in the National Guard to replace the fired teachers. Right. Just the National Guard's going to do all the jobs. They can't do shit. They don't know shit about anything, but they're going to swoop in and take over the hospitals and the schools. It's so dumb. It's what they did in Massachusetts or something recently. They fired everyone. They're like, well, I guess we got to bring in the National Guard. Yeah, because it's all about public health, right, guys? Public health. We're firing everyone, and people are still coming in with COVID, vaccinated and unvaccinated. Public health. Make it make sense. Kevin Kiley Twitter. Who's Kevin Kiley? What is that? Explain the Kevin Kiley. Is that who posted the story about the teachers or the staff, I should say, the school staff and the students out in Los Angeles? Yeah, for not getting jabbed. Yeah, I'm open about it. I don't give a fuck about the vaccine. I really don't care. I know people have to be like, I don't want to get canceled. I don't want to be ostracized. I don't give a shit. Ostracize the fuck out of me. I will be vindicated. I will be vindicated. That's how confident I am. Because I know my shit. I've done more studying this shit than anyone I know. So come at me, bro. These little 18-year-olds on Twitter who are so self-righteous, these little shit libs. They don't know shit, man. These 18-year-olds on Twitter are the fucking worst. Oh my god, they think they know fucking everything. They're like, you don't know the 75 genders. Fuck you. How about that? You little punk ass bitches. No, I don't know the fucking genders that you're gonna make up tomorrow. Like there's gonna be a new gender every fucking day for the rest of my life. I don't care. I don't care who you are, what you are. I don't care what you identify as. I support you, but don't get crazy because I don't know your fucking gender. I'm whatever the fucking new ones are. There's a new one every fucking day. I don't care. Good, awesome, good for you. Jijaju is your pronouns. Cool. Gugaga. Like it's new shit every fucking day. They're literally making it up as they go. Sorry, but that's what that is. You're making it up as you go, which is fine. It's your identity. You can identify however you want. People have identified as so many things in the history of the world. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. I'm very open-minded. I live in New York City. I'm an artist. I don't give a fuck. I honestly don't. I don't care. But don't get fucking offended because I don't know what fucking gender you are. And it's going to change tomorrow anyways. Sorry. I've had friends that have literally changed their gender multiple times. I'm like, I don't know what to call you. I just call them by their name usually, but I don't care. I don't care if you call me the wrong. I don't care if you call me they, them. You can call me she, her. I don't give a. I actually don't give a fuck. I don't care what you call me. You call me asshole. I don't care. So the identity shit it's such a distraction. It's such a distraction. I cannot with that shit. I support you for whatever you are, no matter what you look like, what religion you are. I don't give a shit as long as you're not fucking killing people or force vaccinating people. I don't give a fuck what you are. I really don't. I don't care. I do not care. I support it. That's the world we live in, though. Like, am I an asshole for saying that? Because I'm sure I'm offending someone somewhere. But I don't care. I just don't care. I don't care. Let your freak flag fly. I really, it's cool. I support all that shit. Go for it. I don't care. Dye your hair gold. I don't give a fuck. Go for it. Dye your hair silver. Dye your hair turquoise. That's a cool color. Do whatever you want. Tattoo your whole body. Tattoo your face. I don't care. Doesn't bother me. But don't fucking get mad at me because I don't know your gender. I don't give a fuck. Zip, zip zap zap. Like, what's your pronouns? Put them in your fucking Twitter bio. Then I'll know what it is. Cool. Leave me alone. That's how I feel. It's indoctrination. It is. It's always something. It's this movement, that movement. These are all these little movements, which they try to say it's for equity and equality and all these things, which are important things, 100%. And there is a lot of discrimination still to this day. But I'm not your enemy. I'm really not your enemy. So don't treat me like your enemy, because then I will be your enemy. Trust. The problem is when identity is held up above class. Class, that's what it is. It's always a class war. Always a class war. They always use identity as a distraction. Oh my God, Kamala Harris is the first, Indian black woman vice president. And I'm like, okay, what is she going to do for black people, Indian people, or women? Nothing. Not a damn thing. So if you're not really representing your identity well, then I don't care. I really don't care. I don't care if she's a green alien. Like she ain't helping no one, so who gives a fuck? Yeah. Think about that. But yeah, when identity is held up above class, And it's cynically used to keep us from focusing on these industries for profit motives. Profit, control. Yeah, basically. Zip, zap, zap. It's like an old improv warm-up. The old zip, zap, zap. Oh my gosh. I miss those days when things were simple. When things were simple in the post 9/11 era. Which they're pretty horrible then too. Thank you for all your dedication to finding the truth, Ricky Rants. Oh, so grateful when you're able to live stream and share your knowledge with us. I don't know if it's knowledge. I mean, a little bit. I am knowledgeable in some things. I'm not an expert on any of these topics, to be honest, but I do my digging because I just want to find out what is going on in this world, you know. So, damn it, my son called. I'll go back and rewatch when we hang up. Thank you, Ricky. Take care. Oh, thanks, Misha. You don't have to go back if you don't want to, but it's actually there's some cool stuff in there. You can watch it on like 2x speed. I'll be like really crazy then. I'm like, I am Ricky Rants. Zip that stop. Is there anything else we should talk about before I go? I feel like that's all I wanted to say. Another 2-hour stream. Another like I set up for an hour and then I literally go for 2 hours. It's crazy. I didn't know I could talk this long with like very little information. I feel like I have very little to show you, and then it becomes 2 hours. It's pretty crazy. Pretty good at vamping on my own channel. That's quite nice. Anything else before we go? Did this inspire anything? Did this stream inspire anyone to talk about anything before we go? If not, I will wrap it up. I will do another stream. Probably do another stream next week or something. These streams they've been fun lately. They've been fun. I've been in a mood, and they have been quite fun. So maybe I'll do this more often, more regularly. I've encouraged it a little bit. Yeah. Well, I will leave you there. It's been a lovely night. Tomorrow morning, around 5:15 a.m. Eastern time, which is a much better time in the UK, we will know the fate of Julian Assange. I think this is very important. This is important for a lot of things, including the First Amendment, for for journalism, for free speech, and for human rights, to be honest. So it is the case of the decade, or this quite possibly the century. I don't know. So of course, it's going on while Ghislaine Maxwell is also going on. So this is it's a time. What a time to be alive, you know. So we'll see what happens. 5:15 a.m. I think Eastern Standard Time. There will be people streaming. There will be Americans streaming at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. So free Assange. We are all Assange. Yeah, it's important. This is really important. People still don't really get it. You know, people want to talk shit about the people who are Assange activists. They just don't get the implications of not having a free press, not having actual journalism, which we barely have to begin with, right? At this point, this is huge. This is if this goes bad, if this goes poorly tomorrow, think about the implications when we live in a super propagandized COVID world. I talked about that during the stream tonight. Think about that forever. It'll never end. This world that we're living in right now, this fucking get your booster that doesn't work because you're still going to get Omicron, blah, 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 whatever it is, that's never going to end if Julian Assange isn't freed tomorrow. He needs to be freed. Let go. Not simply not extradited. He needs to be freed. That's really what it needs to be. Just let him go. Just decide, you know what? Fuck it. Go. That's what needs to happen tomorrow. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I don't know anymore. I don't know. Ricky needs to get on the top podcast circuit. Do I even? I'm going to go on Rogan. Dr. Rogan's show. I'll go on the old Dr. Rogan. We can talk about some horse pace. It'll be great. Fuck you, pharma bitches. It'll be good. All right, free Assange, everyone. Have a great night. Tomorrow's a big day. Good luck to us all. We're going to need it. It's going to be crazy. And I will see you on the flip.